Financial institutions, be brave. Believe in the importance of customer care on Twitter and social media in general. In the last 2 years especially, Twitter established itself as one of the most fascinating communication channels out there. Not everybody uses Twitter, okay, that's fair enough. They've got between, I believe, 200 and 300 million registered users, which doesn't mean active. But we're talking about usually influential people. People, again, who've got access to audiences, communities. So very important in terms of advocacy. Is it the only channel you need to focus your attention on from now on? Not at all, actually. I'm not saying you need to ditch telephone, whatever support, banking, customer contact centers. No, no, not at all. But Twitter needs to be taken into account in the overall approach to customer care. Yeah. More than Twitter, it's the fascination I have for social media is about people and people's relationships and people's new expectations. People, your clients, your employees are interacting on those channels. You must, as a brand, be there. And better if you engage with them on those new channels. So what's important for a customer care representative? It's not really Twitter per se. It's his or her ability to understand how to connect with people, to use a different tone of voice, different approach again to engagement online. That's very different from a conversation on the phone, as we all know. So I'll talk about that actually in this short video. WeBank, it's an interesting topic in terms of customer care on Twitter. I'll see that in a second. But basically, the Italian bank, direct bank since 1999, put a lot of emphasis recently on customer care on Twitter. In a country, Italy, which is not the best by all means in terms of, or the leading ones in terms of Twitter penetration. Okay, so it's very interesting approach. Yeah, this is their Facebook page. They've got a dedicated section to customer care. This is basically just a screenshot of my presentation I delivered 2 years ago called Financial Institution Must Support Their Customers on Twitter. This is not on the WeBank page, let me insist. First of all, customer care, fascinating topic. Some institutions are doing very well already, especially in North America. Wachovia was one of the first ones, major ones to be on Twitter, and Wells Fargo used that quite cleverly after the merger. But you see here, Bank of America, it's one of the most followed Twitter accounts we're following on our benchmark, basically. They've got more than 15,000 followers. They're very engaged. They do a good job there, yeah. And what I love with Bank of America is that they replicated that with HR and careers. They launched a dedicated account, leveraging the feedback, the experience from that account. Ask Amex, American Express, king of social media and financial services, B2C, B2B as well. This is a good example. They launched one as well, Ask Amex UK, so to target the UK market. So that's an interesting approach, very engaged area. Ask Wells Fargo, I talked about them. Again, good team there. They respond, they ask questions, they reach out to their clients. So that's the way forward. Good amount of followers, more than 7,000. So that's a good size. One of the questions is, why would people follow a banking customer care account anyway? That's a key question there, yeah. So is success measured just in terms of number of followers? Certainly not. It's engagement. It's share of voice on Twitter. It's sentiment. It's positive versus negative feedback, yeah. It's your ability to change an angry customer and turn that person into a brand advocate, an ambassador. And the beauty of Twitter compared to web chat, I've heard that many times, we've got web chat. It's more secure, it's one-to-one, we can have longer conversation, we can share files. And I'm like, okay, no, it's true, it's working well, yeah. Twitter, the beauty of it is that it's transparent, it's public. People can retweet what you said, can retweet a great tweet about your brand, yeah, someone fascinated or surprised that you even reach out to that person on Twitter, yeah. So this is priceless in terms of advocacy and in terms of earned media. People would blog about it, they would cover it, they would change brand perception based on your activity, your level of engagement online, and especially on things like Facebook and Twitter. They're not the only examples, and certainly not just in North America. In Europe, BNP Paribas, so one of the most innovative banks worldwide, launched a Twitter account dedicated to customer support back in September last year, in 2010. I've helped Frank and his team do that, so I'm quite pleased with it. Interesting topic here is that, in fact, it didn't take off really in terms of volume of requests or questions. But what's interesting, BNP Paribas was the first bank to launch such a dedicated account, so it's good in terms of communication. They trained a fair amount of people within their customer care, force, basically. So those people can respond to Twitter queries, but they can do their job on phone or emails. So again, it's a clever way to leverage your resources. You don't have to have dedicated resources. And if tomorrow Twitter picks up dramatically in France, they're ready. They've been there for quite a while. That's why you have to start quite soon. Yeah. In the UK as well, Lloyds TSB launched a Twitter account. I was quite impressed with that, and they did that with other parts of the Lloyds banking group. So good amount of interaction there. I covered both initiatives quite comprehensively on my blog. You see the articles there, the titles in dark red, so please have a look. Yeah. WeBank, the Italian bank, I promised I would talk about it today because I find it fascinating, right? Just a month and a half ago, they launched customer support on Twitter, but they did it the innovative way. Yeah, they didn't want just to launch one account with a team of people. They're trying, and they launched, in essence, 4 Twitter accounts of 4 customer care representatives on Twitter. I covered it again quite comprehensively on my blog. I think it's interesting as an approach. I also think that's very challenging in terms of, articulating that strategy and creating audiences. You will struggle to do that there, but what's fascinating is they created a list, which is quite good on Twitter, of course, 4 accounts there. It's good to put a name, to have a bit of information and a picture, so that's great there. You see, but those are some figures after, so let's say roughly a month online. And you see, I mean, very few followers, very few tweets as well, on average per day. It's no more than 2 or 3 tweets maximum per day on average. So it's going to be difficult to build up on top of it, yeah. More importantly, if someone identified like Daniela as his main contact or her main contact, what if Daniela is on vacation? What's going to happen? Are they all hearing from, each other's accounts? But then you lose the value of having independent accounts, yeah. So that's where I think one account could be probably the easier, route to success in customer care. But that's interesting. What's even more interesting, I'm not finished there, is that WeBank, on its popular Facebook page, is communicating on Twitter and on their customer care team quite a bit. And you see here just a few screenshots of their Facebook wall. And you see, on a regular basis, they would share some screenshots of one of the conversations on one of those 4 accounts here. And people are interacting. So quite a good focus on that. I mean, it's probably, a good 30% of their wall posts on Facebook since they launched the initiative. So it's quite active again, yeah. And you see some conversations, you see some screenshots and more screenshots. But even with that, you saw that not that many people engaged yet on those Twitter channels, yeah. We need to know as well that in Italy, it's in the top 10 of the most active and in terms of penetration of Facebook worldwide. So Italy is very engaged on Facebook. So it's good to see the bank interacting there and giving so much emphasis to a Twitter account. I believe in promotion and social media cross promotion as well. If you don't tell anybody that you're on Facebook or Twitter and you're a bank, don't expect millions of people following you or liking your page. Of course not. You see here, they've got some earned media again in press coverage. Well, that's an interesting one, but shared on their page. WeBank Copia, so copied Telecom Italia from the telecommunications world. So it's an interesting analogy. And of course, I covered them. So and they shared that on their page, which I'm quite pleased of. Did it come from that? Where did they come up with the idea of having those accounts? A while ago, they shared a question on their Facebook page, and you see here, basically people said they wanted to interact with the brand and the bank on Twitter mainly, versus YouTube and other channels, which again makes sense in terms of interaction. So did they reinforce and validate their position and the strategy based on that question? That's possible. Not just that, but they talked about their Twitter strategy on YouTube. You can see that video. It's going to be on my post. So again, interesting way. And this is, someone very senior from WeBank talking about the initiative for a couple of minutes. Fascinating, actually. Be brave. Embrace customer care on Twitter. It's very important. That article, from a few days ago is interesting again. NAB, the CEO, you see at the bottom there, the CEO pushes his team to be better on social media, especially for customer care. Okay, it's important to listen. It's important to engage. Great to see a CEO of a large financial institutions and globally well known. Very interesting to see a CEO pushing for that, understanding the value. So I hope you enjoyed that video. We would be very pleased, me and the rest of my team, to talk to you about Twitter strategy, social media in general. We're not an agency, but we help you. We're a catalyst if you want. We work with agencies and with financial services and institutions firms throughout the world. And this is one of the things we do. It's a unique benchmark of how the industry is leveraging Facebook and in that case Twitter all over the world in more than 70 countries. So please reach out and connect with us. I was Christophe Langlois on Visible Banking in London, UK.